Have you ever stopped to wonder why people fall in love with you? Why sometimes, without much effort, someone seems drawn to you so deeply, almost irresistibly? It's a mystery we often explain by surface-level things. Personality, looks, charm, maybe even luck. But the truth is much simpler and at the same time far more profound. People don't fall in love with you for 1,000 reasons. They fall in love with you for only two. Just two. Think about that. Out of all the complexity of human connection, out of the endless details that make up who you are, it always comes down to two deeper truths. And when you really understand them, you start to see clearly why certain connections in your life felt magnetic, unforgettable, almost impossible to explain, while others never moved beyond surface attraction. Let's start here. Love is not random. Attraction is not an accident. There's always something beneath the surface pulling people together, something invisible but undeniable, and that something is rarely about what's happening on the outside. It's not your clothes, not your hairstyle, not even the way you smile, though those may catch attention for a moment. What truly draws people into you, what keeps them close, what makes them stay, that's happening on a much deeper level. The first reason people fall in love with you is because they see themselves in you. Sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, they recognize parts of their own soul reflected back. It could be your kindness reminding them of the softness they lost in themselves. It could be your strength echoing the courage they wish they had. It could be your vulnerability, your openness, reminding them that it's safe to feel again. When people fall in love with you for this reason, it feels like recognition, like coming home. They don't even always know why. But something about you resonates with who they are, or who they once were, or who they long to be. This is why we say, I feel like I've known you forever, even when we've just met someone. It's because they mirror back to us the parts of ourselves we cherish, the pieces we thought were lost, or the dreams we still secretly hold. And in that reflection, love is born, not because you are perfect, but because you hold up a mirror to something inside of them. But there is a second reason, and it's the one that often creates the deepest, most powerful love stories. People fall in love with you because you hold something they don't, something they are missing, something they hunger for, something they cannot find within themselves. You become, in their eyes, the missing piece. It could be your calm in their chaos, your laughter in their heaviness, your freedom in their restraint. It's not about being someone's savior or completing them. It's about resonance. You have a quality, a way of being, a light that they feel they cannot access on their own, and they fall in love because being near you feels like touching that missing part of themselves. This is why opposites often attract. It's not random. It's because we are wired to seek wholeness. We are drawn toward those who carry what we lack. When someone has lived their life in structure and order, they may fall in love with the wild, free spirit who reminds them what it means to be alive. When someone has lived with chaos, they may fall for the steady, grounded soul who brings peace. These are not accidents. These are the two reasons love always takes root: reflection and completion. And when you really see this, so much of your own story with love begins to make sense. You start to remember the people who are drawn to you because they recognize themselves in you. And you start to notice the ones who loved you because they were starving for something you carried. In both cases, the love was real, but its foundation was different. Now here's the part that matters most. Understanding these two reasons doesn't just explain the past. It gives you power in the present. Because when you know why people fall in love with you, you stop chasing the wrong explanations. You stop wondering if you weren't pretty enough, funny enough, successful enough. You see clearly that what truly pulls people in has always been deeper than that. And you begin to walk through the world differently, more confident, more grounded, more aware of the quiet impact you have on those around you. Let's look deeper at the first reason. People fall in love with you because they see themselves in you. This is one of the most powerful forces in human connection. It's almost instinctive. When someone recognizes their own spirit, their own story, their own essence in another, it feels like magic. They don't just like you, they recognize you. Think about the last time you met someone and instantly felt comfortable. The conversation flowed, the silence wasn't awkward, and there was no need to pretend. That wasn't coincidence. That was recognition. It's as if your soul and theirs whispered to each other, I know you. And often, this recognition is what we call love at first sight. Not because of appearance or charm, but because something deep inside says, this is familiar, this is safe, this is home. Now here's the interesting part. When people fall in love because they see themselves in you, What they're really responding to is reflection. You become their mirror. They fall in love with their own soul shining back at them through your presence. And the more authentic you are, the more you live in alignment with your true self, the clearer that reflection becomes. This is why authenticity is magnetic. It's why pretending never works for long. People don't fall in love with the mask. They fall in love with what feels real. And when you show up as your true self, you give others permission to see their own truth reflected in you. But what happens when the love is based on this reflection? Sometimes it creates deep harmony. Two people who see themselves in each other feel at peace together. They share values, they share dreams, they share the same lens on life. But sometimes it also creates challenge. Because if someone falls in love with you as a mirror, they may struggle when the reflection changes. If you grow, evolve, or shift in ways they aren't ready to face, the relationship can feel unstable. And yet, this kind of love, rooted in recognition, is deeply human. It speaks to our longing to be seen, to be understood, to know that we are not alone in the world. When someone says, "You get me," that's when love feels like recognition. Now let's turn to the second reason people fall in love. Because you hold what they don't. This is not about mirroring, but about contrast. They fall in love with you because you carry something they believe they lack, and in your presence they feel closer to wholeness. This is the love of opposites. The quiet person falls for the vibrant soul. The dreamer is drawn to the realist. The structured finds fascination in the free-spirited. And what's really happening beneath the surface is this. People are seeking balance. On a subconscious level, we are always reaching for the missing piece. And when we see it shining in another person, the attraction is undeniable. Now this type of love feels different from recognition. Recognition feels safe, familiar, grounding. Contrast feels electrifying, magnetic, sometimes even destabilizing. It's why these relationships often burn with intensity. You're not just seen, you're expanded. You're drawn to someone who awakens in you the part of yourself you've ignored, suppressed, or never discovered. But here's the catch. Falling in love for this reason can bring both healing and challenge. Healing, because this person shows you what's possible, opens doors inside you, brings balance to your life. Challenge, because you may become dependent on them for what you haven't developed in yourself. You may begin to believe that without them, you are incomplete. And that's where love can turn into attachment, even obsession. So what's the balance? The healthiest form of this love is when you allow the person to inspire you, but you don't rely on them to complete you. They awaken something inside of you, but you choose to grow it for yourself. In that way, the love becomes not just magnetic, but transformative. Now let's bring it back to you. Think of the people who have fallen in love with you. Some of them were drawn to you because you reflected their own soul back to them. Others because you carried something they lacked. Maybe your courage, maybe your gentleness, maybe your fire. In both cases, it wasn't random. It wasn't about luck. It was about something deeper than appearances. And here's the beauty of knowing this. You stop asking, what do I need to change about myself to be loved? You stop chasing after surface-level answers, because you realize love is not about becoming more impressive or more perfect. It's about resonance. The right people will fall in love with you for these two reasons: recognition and completion. And that has nothing to do with pretending or proving. It has everything to do with simply being. When you begin to embody this truth, relationships shift. You stop begging for love and start trusting that love will recognize you, or be magnetized to you naturally. You stop twisting yourself into someone else's missing piece, and you start noticing where you already bring balance, where you already carry light. And maybe the most freeing part is this. When someone doesn't fall in love with you, you don't see it as rejection anymore. You see it as misalignment. They didn't see themselves in you. They didn't feel the missing piece in your presence. And that's okay, because the love that matters, the love that lasts, will always find you for those two reasons. Not because you forced it, but because it was written into the fabric of who you are.